Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
You are listening to the Brilliance Business Show, conversations with leading experts in business. I am your host, Mark Stephen Pooler, and today I have a wonderful guest, Josef Stetter. Josef is a career-finding guru, and our topic today is Land Your Dream Job, which is a really important topic, especially in today's climate. Josef, welcome to the Brilliance Business Show.
Mark, thank you for having me. I'm honored to be sharing a few tips to help people succeed.
I'm really looking forward to a conversation with you today, Josef. Before I get started, I just need to make a legal disclaimer that Josef is not offering legal advice or legal assistance. So let's get started with the show. Josef, can you share with our listeners a little bit about yourself and your business?
So I'll start very quickly. I didn't know what I want to do when I grew up. So I switched careers 9 times and jobs 18 times. So I've gone through the pain and tribulations of trying to prove that I know what I'm doing for a job. Secondly, I've been in recruiting for nearly 20 years. I've recruited for companies like Deloitte, Touche, IBM, Apotex Pharmaceuticals, Aecon Construction. So I also have been a generalist in recruiting and understand what the job market is asking for. And last but not least, I've written 6 books, and I've personally helped 11,000 people find employment. The fastest I've helped anybody find employment is 2 days. Most of my candidates find employment in under 3 months in their industry, regardless of whether they're international, local. It's just about how they market themselves. And my purpose in life is to help people kind of find their path.
The proof is in the pudding, and you are walking the walk and talking the talk. 6 books, that's a great achievement, Josef. And to help 11,000 people to get into employment, that is a real great result and must give you so much job satisfaction. Who are your clients? Who do you look after, Josef?
So it does give me great satisfaction. I've been a generalist, so I've predominantly helped white collar and higher level blue collar jobs. So engineers, accountants, IT people, data scientists, medical, sales, those kind of things, marketing. So at the end of the day, I can help anybody. I can make a custodian sound like a brain surgeon. It's all about how you brand yourself and how you market yourself, which is kind of where your expertise comes in. I just kind of do it specifically for job finding, Mark.
I hear you. And there must be a lot of people out there at the moment, Josef, that need your support, because people are losing jobs, people are out of work. So is that what you're finding? You need to give those kind of people support through these testing times?
So COVID has been an experience for a lot of people. In North America, between Canada and the United States alone, between 60 and 65 million people lost their jobs. And unfortunately, a lot of them kind of are flustered. They don't know where to look. They don't know what to do. And so I've kind of created systems, tools, and tricks to make sure that they're successful. For example, most people apply for jobs on job boards like Indeed, Glassdoor, Career Builder. The problem is, prior to COVID, Indeed had 40 million users in North America, which meant that one job posting was getting between 350 and 5,000 applicants. Now with COVID, it's 4 or 5 times that. So most jobs, let's say around the world, but predominantly in North America, say, don't call us, we'll call you. And most people go, okay, I'll wait. Now, here's the thing. If, let's say, 3,000 applicants applied for one job, most companies look at the first 100. So if you're not one of the first 100, you're being missed. So I teach people, here's a simple little trick. Call the company, say my internet's been crashing or I've had computer problems all day. Can you please confirm that my application went through? The moment that they go to check if the application went through, your application is now at the top of the list. Now, since you have them on the phone, you have 2 minutes to say, here's the 2 things that I've done as results that you should be aware of as to why you should consider me for this role. And thirdly, the thing that you need to do is kind of say, well, when are you going to start interviewing for this role? So if they say to you in 2 weeks, you say to them, if in 3 weeks I don't hear from you, do you mind if I call you as an expert to give me feedback on my resume so that I have better chances of getting hired? Now you've asked permission to be in that conversation. So I've created a system to kind of go, I'm not going to teach you, the same old things that everyone's talking about, like networking is a good idea. I'm going to tell you why no one's hiring you. I'm going to tell you why you're struggling to find jobs because you're looking in the wrong places or you're wasting your energy in the wrong places.
These are great tips, Joseph, and these little extra things are going to help you to stand out as well and go above and beyond what other people are doing, and that is a real great way to make progress on your employment journeys. Do you recall a specific aha moment that led to the launch of your business, Joseph?
As I mentioned earlier, I struggled to kind of figure out what I want to do with my career. I think the aha moment was I was working kind of in a private college environment, and I was completely disgusted with how awful the career services were. And I went, okay, this can't be the solution. And so I've spent over 25,000 hours mastering everything there is to know about job finding. And I've taken that 25,000 hours and created a program that you cannot fail as long as you do the homework I've given you. And when I say you cannot fail, as an example, my brother was finishing his 3rd year mechanical engineering, applied for an internship. By the time one of the companies responded to him, it was going to be more of a paper pusher job, and he already registered for his 4th year classes. So he asked me to cancel the interview. I decided to go in as my brother. I studied economics and business. The only thing I know about mechanical engineering is what I wrote for him on his resume. My first interview, there was 100 candidates from 4 major universities in Canada. Within 45 minutes, human resource called me back, said, we love you. We need to come back for a second interview. I was like, okay. My second interview was with the manager of the department that I potentially work with. Now, I spoke the truth about my brother's resume. So my brother was in a team that designed a wheelchair for third world nations. They use a tank chain so it can go on any terrain. He came second in Ontario for the best mechanical engineering project of the year, won $500 from a major bank, told the manager I studied thermodynamics and quantum physics. To this day, I have no idea what those are. Didn't even leave the parking lot. Manager called me, said, I adore you. I need to come back for a third final interview. I was like, all right, let's see how far I can take this. I was the first one in at 8:30 in the morning. Manager walked over to me and goes, here's your offer letter. The job's yours. All you have to do is pass this mechanical engineering test. I looked at him, I looked at the test, I looked at him, I looked at the test. I'm like, I can't do this test. Manager looked at me and goes, I know you're nervous. Let me help you. He solved the first 2 questions for me. I looked at him and I said, listen, I am so sorry for wasting your time. I guess I'm a lot more comfortable with the design than I am with the calculations. I'm not the right candidate for this job. Thank you for the opportunity. Manager followed me to the car and begged me to take the job because it interviewed that much better than every other mechanical engineer. And I've done this for IT jobs, for law jobs, for accounting jobs, for marketing jobs, because I want to make sure that the information I provide people to help them succeed in finding their dream job is foolproof. And it works because I test it regularly to make sure that everything I'm saying works in every which direction.
Got you. And I just love that aha moment. That's a great story there, Joseph. What really motivates you every day to jump out of bed?
Truthfully, now I have a 7-month-old daughter, and a lot of it, like beyond being of service to people, I've always been someone that loves helping. I want to kind of show my daughter what's possible, and I want her to experience the opportunities and help her achieve her dreams.
What sets your business apart, and what unique need are you filling for your clients and customers?
The main focus of my program is that I'm not regurgitating generic stuff. I'm going very specific. So, for example, a lot of the career coaches out there kind of talk about and say, oh, networking is a good idea. You should network. It might help you get a job. I think that's useless information. So I kind of go, first of all, here's a list of, let's say, 40 different areas where you can network. You can also look up industry-specific designations. Secondly, when you network, you need to brand yourself. So my favorite color is purple. Every time I go and do something, I wear a purple shirt or something purple so that when I follow up, I go, I'm the guy with the purple, so that they remember the purple, even if they don't remember my name. Thirdly, let's say I also kind of said, stop going into networking saying, hey, I need a job. It's useless, especially, and you haven't earned the right to say that to, let's say, an executive. When you come to a networking event, make it about them. So when you meet an executive, you come up to them and say, what made you so successful, Mark? What are your biggest accomplishments in your career? When you start the conversation with that, somebody is more likely to respond to an email or follow-up after the networking event than, hey, I understand you're an executive. Will you hire me, for example? So I've broken down, here's why no one's responding to you. Your resume is too cookie cutter and generic. The way that you interview is not providing the proof in terms of results. Your LinkedIn profile is too generic. The way you network is incorrect. The way you approach job finding, you're spending too much time in the wrong places. You need to kind of optimize your job search this way. And I break it down piece by piece, and I explain each piece, and I explain to you how to kind of do it correctly so that you have multiple resources working for you to land that dream job, basically.
I agree with you. So many people get networking wrong, and they spend a lot of time talking as well rather than listening, and it's much better to listen rather than just talk about yourself. So I agree with all of your tips there, Joseph. Why is your service especially important in today's modern world?
Again, COVID has hit a lot of people around the world. There's tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of people that lost their job globally. So this is a market right now where you have 4 to 5 times the normal level of competition that you have to find employment. And so I've kind of said, look, I want to be of service to people. I want to help them succeed. So I've created a program that's $97. There's no upsell. There's no, oh, you need to sign up for this. It's everything you need to know. It's kind of broken down to you where you have PDFs, PowerPoint, video, audio, bonus resources like part-time, like a list of where you can work part-time to subsidize your income and help you kind of, lay over free books, some of the books that I've written, other resources to kind of go, like, even with the networking. I didn't just say, it's a good idea to network. I said, these are the organizations in North America that you can network that are industry specific. These are the places that if you go to a meetup or you go to Eventbrite, these are the things, and this is how you should be searching in order to find the right places to go. Because if you're trying to get a job as an IT guy and you go to a networking event for people that love to play guitar, the odds of you getting hired are very small. So I've kind of said, look, I've done all the homework for you. All you have to do is put in a little bit of effort, take a little bit of action, and you're guaranteed to succeed in terms of finding that dream job or the perfect job for you, or getting back into the field that you were working in and getting better opportunities, let's say, even getting a promotion.
And it's these skills that will really make a difference and make the process a whole lot quicker and easier to make it a smooth process, because it can be really challenging and scary when you are looking for work. Now, Joseph, can you just share a few more detail on the kind of services and products that you offer?
So, for example, resumes. There's what I call the 5 cardinal sins of a resume. The first is that most people that write a resume write it in either Arial, Times New Roman, or Calibri as a font. This is what the whole world does, so you don't stand out. I refer to, if you've ever seen the movie Legally Blonde, when Elle Woods applies to Harvard or for the internship at Harvard, she gives a pink scented resume. And
yes,
everyone goes,
I love this film.
Right? And everyone goes, it's pink and it's scented. But it stands out and they remember it. So just changing the font can help your odds of getting hired. Most people use the black Cardinal sin number 2 is they use the black dots, a square, an arrow, or a hyphen or dash as their bullet points. Again, super generic. Everyone does it. So you're not standing out. The third mistake that most people have is that they kind of have an area where it's like career history, where they're like, I have 10 years of experience. I know how to do this. And they add generic fluffy stuff like I'm hardworking, dedicated, committed team player with excellent communication skills. I got to tell you, in 20 years of working in recruiting and helping people find a job, I've never once looked for those skill sets on a resume. And also, I've met very, very few people that say, listen, I'm lazy, I'll show up late, none of my work will be any good, and I really hate people. Please hire me. Not unless you're related to them or having an affair with them that you can kind of get away with that, right? So stop giving those, because your definition of hardworking, Mark, and my definition of hardworking could be very different.
Yes.
Right. So stop giving me subjective words. The fourth mistake that a lot of people make is that they make their resume very chronological or very functional. Now, if somebody is doing a part-time job, let's say working in a coffee shop right now because they needed some income to pay the bills, and that's the first thing that people see on the resume, a lot of companies will dismiss you, because most employers spend 8 to a maximum of 30 seconds reading your resume, which means they read the top third to the top half of your resume. The only exceptions are government, where they read everything and they want you to kind of give every single detail, or government-related jobs. But if the first thing I see on your resume is the generic, I'm hardworking, dedicated, the next thing I see is that you're working in a coffee shop when you're trying to be an IT person, I've already dismissed your resume because I spent 8 seconds on it going, okay, not the resume for me. If you use the cookie cutter fonts and the cookie cutter bullet points, same thing. And the biggest mistake or sin of all is that most people list their duties and responsibilities. So if a receptionist says to me, I know how to answer the phone, an employer should look at her in shock and go, really? A receptionist that knows how to answer the phone? We did not know that. Because unless you live in an igloo, a cave, or are Mennonite, chances are you know how to press the green button and go, hello, how can I help you? Now, if you've studied or worked as a receptionist and you've learned how to answer 60 calls a day with 12 different lines, I can measure 60 calls a day with 12 different lines. I cannot measure I know how to answer the phone. And people do not quantify the value of their work, the results that they produce. Like Mark, yourself, you're in kind of the branding and so forth. So when you say, I can get you in front of 100,000 people, I can measure 100,000 people. If you just tell me I'm good at SEO, I don't know what that means. I don't know what the results that you produce are. So the less I have to guess on your resume, because most people assume, well, once I get the interview, I'll give them all those juicy details. But if you're not getting the interview, that's part of the problem, is you need to put those juicy details on your resume so that people notice you, right? So part of my services is I write customized resumes. So I've given people 15 templates that they can use to quantify their results. Similarly, when they go to the interview, for example, a lot of interviews start with the question, tell me about yourself. It is one of the most loaded, useless questions that exists in an interview. But the reason people ask it, because it's kind of an icebreaker. Now, most people start away with, I love to read, I love to travel, blah, blah, blah. Has nothing to do with the job. If an employer asks you a question like, tell me about yourself, you look them in the eyes, you smile, and you say, where would you like me to begin? Whatever they tell you to begin, they just told you this is important. Otherwise, we wouldn't care enough to talk to you about it. And they just told you a hint as to what you will be doing on the job. And similarly, if you give an example to an interview question and they ask you to expand on that example, or they ask you for a second similar example, they just hinted to you, we love what you're saying, you're probably going to get hired. So I've broken the system down to kind of go, here's the resumes templates, here's the psychology of interviewing and how to interview correctly. There are 7 simple rules. Here's how to negotiate salary. Here's how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. Here's how to network correctly. Here's how to work with various employment agencies, recruiters, headhunters. Here's how to beat the job boards. Here's the job boards that you should be applying with. Here's the employment agencies that you should be applying with. Here's how to, ask for referrals. Here's how to create a position just for you that doesn't exist. Here's how to think outside the box, like, something as simple as sending, let's say, a large box of chocolates to the department you want to work in, and inside the box you put your resume, for example. Just something like that gets noticed. I've covered pretty much the A to Z of here's everything you need to know and every trick in the book, every system in the book to get hired. If you can't get hired with my system, you're either being lazy because you're not being proactive, because it's the first thing I talk about in my system is the importance of being proactive. And I mentioned earlier, you send an application on a job board, call the employer, say my internet crashed, can you check? That little piece can make a huge difference in you getting noticed, getting hired. And yeah, it's basically as much detail as I can give you from my 25,000 hours of investing into learning this industry.
You've done all the hard work so that the people that you work with have a much smoother process. Now, I know you have all sorts of client success stories. I just want you to choose one that really stands out to you.
I think one of my favorite stories is when I first started salsa dancing, I had a partner that was in college to study graphic design. And she saw this internship opportunity that was unpaid. And she calls me up. She's like, I really, really want it. I really, really want it. I'm like, you really want it? She's like, yeah. Like, you have to do everything I tell you. I'm going to be like your Mr. Miyagi. Like, wax on, wax off. Don't ask me any questions. Just follow everything I say. I said, first of all, the word graphic and design are in your job description. So you're not allowed to have a black and white resume. We made her resume green. And then instead of the regular bullets that everybody uses, she had a little kind of like dancing guy that was her signature for all her digital marketing work that she's done. We put that as her bullet points. I wrote how her being a barista at a coffee shop is actually graphic design because she played with the latte and created different designs. She sends the resume. 2 weeks go by. She calls me and says, they didn't even call me. You suck. An hour later, they called her. They're like, listen, we're so sorry we haven't called you earlier. We received 7,400 applications for 20 unpaid internships. Your resume was one of our favorites. Now, because we received so many applications, we're going to do a three interview process. Your first interview is in 2 days. So she calls me back. She's like, oh my God, they called me. What do I do? I'm like, first of all, apologize. Second, like, here's what I need to do. I want you to go to like Staples, Kinko's, any of the places that you can print your best works on the highest end glossy paper that you can find. Even if it costs you $40, invest in that. Take all of your graphic files, organize them. At the time, Flickr was very popular to easy access so that they can see all the different work that you've done. And then I taught her my 7 rules to a perfect interview, which I used with my brother as a mechanical engineer, pretending to be my brother, I should say. Taught her the rules there. She came into the interview like super prepared. 15 minutes into the interview, the director puts down his pen, looks at her, goes, listen, I've been running this program for 10 years. I have never been so impressed with a candidate as I am with you. I'm not even bothering with the second and third interview. Congratulations, you're my first hire for the internship. Right, so that was a 2-day turnaround in terms of her getting hired.
I love a success story, Joseph, and it really does make so much sense doing those extra things in the outset to really get the result that you're looking for, because most people won't take that extra effort. How do clients typically hear about you, Joseph?
So I have a Facebook group called Land Your Dream Job, where people can join. My name is Josef Stetter. They can find me on LinkedIn. They can find me on my company's called the Celebrate Group, or celebrategroup.ca is my website. And for the course, I have a kind of a bit.ly, which is 35 capital V, capital G, capital K, and then small g and M for the course for $97, which gives you everything you need to know to do everything on your own and get hired.
I will make sure those links are easy access for our listeners to get a hold of, Joseph. You have shared lots of value, and even people just listening to this will get lots of great tips that can help them move forward. So You have really shared great value, which I really appreciate. Is there anything we did not cover that you would like to share?
Again, you know what? My heart goes out to people that are struggling right now and have lost their job and lost their identity. I know how stressful that can be. I know how damaging it can be to your personality, to your confidence, because I've gone through it myself. And this is why I've kind of created this program to go to people. Look, there are jobs out there. And if you know where to look and you know how to optimize what you're doing, you don't need to spend 8 hours a day on, let's say, Indeed. You can spend half hour a day, unless there's particular applications that you have to go in and fill in all the information, and still get hired and be more successful than you thought, kind of thing. And that is my purpose, is to try and help people succeed, to try and help people kind of remember who they are and kind of get them back on track.
I am sure there will be people listening, Joseph, who could really, really benefit from the support of your wisdom and knowledge. Thank you so, so much for being on the Brilliance Business Show, Joseph. I've really enjoyed a conversation with you.
Thank you very much for having me, Mark. It's been an honor, and I hope this message helps a few people kind of find their path.
You have been listening to the Brilliance Business Show, conversations with leading experts in business.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.